Skateboards, Hinduism, and the furtherance of the gospel. What do these things have in common? That's what we'll discover today on Ministry Today. I'm your host, Bill Brownlee. Thank you for joining us. I'm very excited about our guest today. We have with us Austin Pine, who's an infamous skateboarder around Moody Bible Institute. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm very excited about our conversation we have today. You have many good things to say. I know you personally, so I'm just very pleased that you're here joining us today. Now, this is the question that I want to know. I want to dive in first to your trip to India. What was it like traveling to India? Or actually, first, how did you end up in India skateboarding of all things?
Skateboarding of all things, that's a good question. I grew up going to a ministry in Portland, Oregon called Skate Church. It's a church for skateboarders, youth group more, directed to the junior high school age, skateboarding youth. And so I grew up going to that, and they were sending a team out to India this spring break, and the spring break for there and here just happened to overlap. And one of my friends had actually sent me a support letter that was going on the trip, and I was like, yeah, this is great. I want to support. I want to be in prayer and send some money if we could. And my wife, Emily, was excited about the trip as well, but she even threw out the idea, why not you go along too? Like, you know these guys, like this is something you want to do. And so it played out, and it just worked.
How much did it cost? Is it a high expense for a trip like this?
The main cost was the wood we built a bunch of ramps when we were there, so plywood, lumber was expensive, and the airfare. And we sent out some letters, and we had some key donors that were there to take care of us, and God provided greatly for this trip. So out of pocket, it wasn't a huge expense for us.
Yeah. Now, you have a very special story about when you visited the University of New Delhi. Can you tell us what happened there?
Yeah, it was great, actually. We went into India to do skateboard demonstrations, skateboard demos at different schools, and to build some ramps for a local ministry. And at one of these demos we did at Delhi University, we were partnering with a team that was doing an outreach event, and so they used us essentially as people just to draw the crowd. So we went out right in the street in front of the school and started skateboarding, and people just...
And skateboarding is something unusual.
Oh,
there
definitely,
in India,
definitely.
Right?
Skateboarding is so foreign to the Indian culture, and so people weren't opposed to it. People didn't, try and kick us off their property and associate us with this negative culture, but they were curious and they enjoyed it, and they would clap when we'd land tricks, and they just had a great time. And so there was, just people walking down the street, not too many people standing around when we started, and after a few minutes, we had easily 200-300 people just enjoying the show, essentially. And so we were having a good time, and one of the people from the group got up and gave an invitation for the speaker that was going to speak at this event, and they invited him to snacks and refreshments. And so we all went inside, and a bunch of people followed, and we actually went with him and got to listen to a great speaker, and he gave a gospel presentation that was very clear. And we had a translator for us, obviously, but it was given in Hindi. And at the end, he gave an altar call, and 15-20 people stood up and received Christ. And it just felt really cool it was great to experience that and feel a part of it, not in the sense that, we had a direct play in this, but through the abilities that God has given us, we were able to
draw a crowd. You got to draw a crowd, right?
We did. So we did share in this. But
that's very exciting. Great. You get to partner with the nationals, those who actually live there,
correct,
who work there, who are reaching out there. You're kind of just the attraction, if you will.
Yeah.
But if that works, that's great.
Yeah. Who are these crazy white people? So.
So how did you get into being a crazy white people? How did you get into skateboarding?
Skateboarding for me started, I must have been 10 years old when I remember my older cousin got a skateboard, and we would go over to the school across the street from his house, and I would just think he was so cool because he was older than me, for one, and they're jumping off sidewalks and grinding on curbs and stuff. And so that sparked my interest when I was about 10 years old, and got my first skateboard, and I've been doing it for almost 13 years now, and it's just my passion. It's my I feel like my gifting. So I want to use that for whatever the Lord can use to bless others.
So just the awe of watching someone older than you.
The awe factor,
do something that you couldn't.
Stuck.
Yeah. That's very exciting. That's actually something I wish I would have gotten into as a child. Skateboarding, I always thought it'd be exciting, fun, a good test of my physical abilities. So it's very cool to kind of live vicariously a little bit through your life.
It's never too late.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. 3 kids and 1 on the way might be a little bit late for me. But for you, what do you hope to do in the future with this skill, these gifts, and what you enjoy? What do you hope to do with this in the future?
Personally, I would love to do something similar to that of Skate Church that I grew up attending in junior high and high school, and start a ministry where it's outreach focused, and you draw these kids in with the ramps that you have and this great skate park where people will want to come and skateboard, and you sit them down and you let them skateboard on these ramps, but then under the condition that they listen to your preaching or your message. Right. And so you have a crowd, and you just love on these kids, and you show them the example of a godly Christian life, and it's.
Do you take it any farther than just the skating itself? You're saying showing them the testimony of your life. Is there a hope that you can develop something where you can invite children even deeper into your life than being at the skate park?
Definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. I think that it does go much deeper than just here at the skate park, or so be it, or but you take it to everyday life, and you share life with these kids, with these adults, whoever it is. But skateboarding is more just the foot in the door. You use skateboarding to start the relationship, and then you build from that. And I mean, discipleship is definitely a key aspect of ministry. Right. You can't just give these people the gospel and send them their way. But skateboarding is really just the drawing factor, I guess. And
yeah. Do you ever feel awkward? The kids are coming to skate, typically. Do you feel awkward kind of forcing them to sit and listen to a gospel message or a Bible study or something like that? Do you feel like that is pushing a little too hard, maybe? Or do people say that to you, perhaps? Like, what are you guys trying to do? You're trying to trick them into this? Or? Yeah,
no, definitely, I understand. And people do object, and people sometimes get offended. But hey, we say, you know what? This is 2 ways. If you don't want to listen to our preaching, you can leave, and you don't have to listen, but you don't get to skate on the ramps. Right. And so, you have that edge on them, because they do want to skateboard on your ramps, and especially in a city like Chicago, where there's only 3 skate parks that I know of within the city limits. With such a great population, there's only so little places to skateboard, and kids will listen, and it can be awkward sometimes when people give some opposition, but you just gotta keep doing what you gotta do.
Well, Austin, I'm glad you could join us today and share a little bit of your story and how you get to do what you love for the kingdom. And I'm sure everyone else that's listening is encouraged as well. And that's our hope here on Ministry Today. We hope that you will take what we talk about here, and that you will think how it applies to your own life, how you might use your own passions, your own desires to serve the kingdom. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Bill Brownlee. Join us again next week.